everyone, I'm Stella and this is Tarrant from Meeple University. Today we are back with 5 games in 30 minutes or under 30 minutes. We'll try our best. So we have 5 awesome games today from Archeos Society, which is a race theme from Ehtnos. We've got Broadlines, a party drawing game. Exacto, a very cute matching distance game. Pollen from Ronanitia.
And Big Top.
Which is art done by the Miko.
Yes.
Starting with Big Top. This game plays 3 or 4 players. It's quite specific. Yes. By all play. And as I said earlier, artwork is by the Miko. You can probably recognize his art style.
Yes.
And how's everyone going, by the way? Let us know in the comments how you going, what fun things did you do today, what board games you did today. And let's start with Big Top.
So this is an auction game with a really interesting twist. The aim is, so we're at a circus, we're trying to bid on these cards. Each round there'll be an auctioneer who flips the top card from the decks. This is the auctioneer card. And then players will go around the table bidding on these cards. And it's a very conventional auction in that way. You simply bid an amount of coins that you have, and it will go around and round, and whoever bids the most gets the card. But whoever wins the bid pays the auctioneer rather than paying the bank. Unless the auctioneer wins, in which case the auctioneer pays the bank. And then when you get a card, it goes into your collection. Now, what makes this game quite different is that when you place a bid, if you bid a number that is printed on your card, it doesn't matter whether you win the bid or not. Say I bid 2, I would get to take one of my coins and place it on the number 2 here. If I were to bid 3, I would place one on here, and one would come from the bank, and go on to the central cards 3, and that's sort of how money comes back into the game. And the premise is that you only score points for the cards that you complete. The cards that you get, once you get them all covered with coins, you get your coins back, and then you flip it down into a scoring pile. You go round and round the table until the deck is empty. There'll be an end card shuffled into the bottom 5 cards, I believe it is. And there's a wide variety of points. There's some very high scoring cards, some mid scoring cards, low scoring cards that have special abilities when you complete them. There are some that combo with other objectives. These clowns, they can be very difficult to score.
You must have a card. You must at least win a card with some stars, otherwise you can't win.
Yes.
You have the highest points.
Yep. Stars, generally lower scoring cards, but they come with a reward for having the most stars as well.
That's true.
That is the premise of Big Top.
Very, very twisty. I've never seen an auction game like this. I'm normally not good at auctioning, but this is an auction with incentive to fill up your own cards, complete them, and then score the points.
Yeah, I enjoyed the different twist on this as well. I always find, auction games take a bit to get into because you definitely have to play a number of times before you understand the economy of the money and what's really worth what. But I found this to be a very, just that different twist made it really interesting.
It's a really awesome game. We would really recommend it. The only downside is that it only plays 3 or 4. I mean, if you can play 3 or 4 players, then they'll be fine. If your group is 3 to 4, and that's fine. And we made this mistake as well as we play our first one, is that you have to have money. You just have to have money. Otherwise, if the cards that you want popped up and you don't have money, and that's it. That's it, but you have to wait.
I mean, it's a risk you've got to take, right? If you don't have the money, not only can you not necessarily bid on the cards you want, but you also are really relying on a card coming out when you're the auctioneer that lots of people want and that people will bid high on, so that you've then got the money for the subsequent turns.
Really fun game, really recommended. Big Top.
Yes.
And the next game is what's going on there, Tarrant? That's Pollen. Pollen by Ronanitia, artwork by Beth Sobel. Look how pretty it is. And look on the table how pretty it is. This is like printed, and it is metallic print. It's one side. There's bee, there's the bug, there's butterfly. It's so pretty. So it plays 2 to 4 players by all play.
Yes, so this is a A symmetrical tile placement game, essentially. Each player has a personal deck of 15 cards, and each player's deck is the same. And you draw a hand of 5 to work with, and you redraw each round, so that's how it varies between the players. And on your turn, you choose one of the cards from your hand, and there'll be these scoring markers in the middle of the table. Basically, you put them around the scoring markers like so. You can see which scoring marker is coming next. After you have placed a card, if any situation is created where there's at least 2 players around an empty space, then the next tile goes into that space and a new one gets drawn from the bag. And there are some rules go a little bit differently if multiple of those are created at a time. And then once, just to set these out, once an area is completely surrounded, you score that tile. And essentially you look at the types of creatures that are on that tile. So in this case, it's just a June bug. You would add up who has the most June bugs around that tile, and whoever does, regardless of the margin of victory, gets one of those tokens. So here it's 3 to green, it's 1 to pink because the stars count as wild, and so green would get one of these, and this would be flipped down.
So it's been scored.
Yes. So some of them have 2 on them, so the stars will count to both, and it's all about finding these areas and trying to score as many majorities as possible. All of that is very conventional, and then you get into what's the Reinach-Nietzsche-ness of this, because there's always some twist in these games, and in this case it is how does the final scoring work. It's also a very majority-based scoring. So if you hold, the simplest way is that once one of these is gone or all the cards are gone, you count up who has the majority in each type of bug, and whoever has the most majorities wins. If it is tied, then you total up how many bugs you have in your non-majority ones, and whoever has the most there wins. If not, then you add them all up. But you have to have at least one majority to win. If you don't have any majorities at all, you cannot win the game. And so it becomes a game of extreme balance because there's never a benefit in winning something by a lot. You want to win everything by the absolute minimum amount.
Which makes it really tight. It's very, very puzzly. You need to make sure that you have a majority, but it's one of those Reinach-Nietzsche's typical game where you have to play it and then, like that. I don't know what means to you, but for me, you have to try it until you recognize some of the strategies that was not really apparent when you read the rules.
Yeah, one of the things that's very evident as it comes out is that if you start building an area where you're going to get the majority, no one is going to help you with that.
No.
And no one is going to put the card on there that lets a token be put in there, because tokens only, I could completely surround that with greens. No token would go there because it has to be 2 different colours. So it kind of drives you into doing like a checkerboard pattern or keeping everything close. There's all these mechanisms in there which keep things really close.
You have a certain number of cards in your hand and keep drawing as you play one. And that's where you kind of need to keep this flexible as well, or not playing your wild cards, your good cards early on, and you can just play it last to win the majority at the end. That's the thing that you're gonna have to think about in this game. It's really fun. I think I really recommend this if you're a fan of Reinach-Nietzsche, and especially if you're a completionist, then this is the game. And if you like, the artwork, gorgeous component, and this Beth Sobel's artwork, and you like that puzzle and kind of like area control-ish in a way puzzle, then definitely highly recommend it.
This one for me, it is, there is a theme there, but it's very much an abstract
It is
game.
abstract, yeah.
It didn't excite me as much as many tile placement games did, and maybe it was because there's no game-breaking moments in this game. You're gradually fighting your way towards things. I can appreciate the strategy that goes in here. It is a fairly dry game overall.
Yeah.
So it's certainly not going to appeal to everybody.
Yep.
But there's a lot of good thought that's gone into it.
That's a lot. Totally, you've been enjoying the last 2 games. We still have 3 games to go. Just letting you know, we really appreciate every like you click on our videos, every comments. Let us know you're there. And if you want, you can subscribe to us optionally. Let us know you're there. Hopefully you are doing something super fun today, like playing board games, cooking something that you like, going out, watching a movie. Watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That was really fun. And on to the next game. This next game is Exacto. Plays 2 to 6 players. It's from age 5+. It's really simple, neat. I'm not getting into review yet. By NSV. And the front cover actually has got non-English explanation there. So straight from Germany.
Indeed. So this is a little icebreaker game. There are 15 of these cards in the deck. They each have 2 holes printed on one side or cut through them on one side, and on the other there's a whole load of circles, and essentially any given round involves 2 of these cards, and without touching them or lining them up, basically you put them on the table and players take turns guessing which 2 circles are exactly this far apart.
What do you think, Tarrant?
What do I think?
I reckon it might be this 2. Shall we try?
Sure, you took my spot in
No!
turn 11.
That's the wrong one. Tarrant.
Okay, I'm gonna guess these 2.
I think that would be the right answer.
Yep.
That was my first thought, my first instinct. There you go. So that's what you need to do
Instincts.
to score this tile. So whoever's got the most tiles wins. This has got that illusion feeling. You know that game by Illusion?
Yes,
By Wolfgang
Illusion by
Bosch.
Wolfgang Bosch came out a few years ago. Yeah, it's that sort of, it's that quick icebreaker, like it's 2 to 6 players, but you could have more on the table. People could take guesses. There's all sorts of ways you could go about this game. It's a neat little filler in that same style as Illusion.
I really love Illusion, and this one also. I mean, probably my records of playing this is better than you. Maybe because I like this more than you. I don't know.
First time we played through, I think you beat me 5-1 or something. 5 before I even scored.
All right, here, one more. I think. Oh, sorry. Yeah. It would be this 2. So that would be probably, I don't know. I'm feeling I'm not doing well this time. Not as well as last time.
That was going to be my guess.
Hey, no. So that's just not what to do. But this is a fun game. 5+ age can play this. And yeah, I can see why. I can play this totally with my sister's family.
Yeah, for me, it doesn't go much further than the icebreaker.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the staying power that Illusion has. With if you've played Illusion, it's trying to work out what percentage of the card is in a certain color when it's in some strange pattern. This does not have staying power for me.
But it is, as you say, it's an icebreaker. So in Meetup Social, and then it plays up to 6 players, and you can just bring it up and start with this game before getting into things like, I don't know, let's say it is.
Indeed.
From here to here, this next game is also party-ish, icebreaker, more like party games. Plays 3 to 8 players by Cranial Creations. Broadlines.
Broadlines. So this is a drawing game.
It's actually says 2 straight lines or 1 curve. That's basically what you do in your turn.
Yes. So this game in some ways is drawing's answer to just one. So there'll be an easel and there'll be a player who takes a card from this. There will be 6 different options on there.
And that player does not actually see those options?
Yes, it gets placed in the board and set in front of the player, just one style, who then identifies one of those 6 things for the other players to draw.
Just pick one.
Then what you have is 25 of these transparent sheets. So you can see they're transparent. And clockwise around the table, each player gets the chance to add to the drawing. So let's say we were looking
Mushroom.
Let's say we were looking at mushroom here. So you've got 2 options. You can either draw 1 or 2 straight lines, which intersect or do anything, or you can draw a single curve which doesn't inflect and doesn't intersect unless it's a circle. So for a mushroom here, let's say, all right, I know I'm going to want a cat
fine.
for the mushroom, and that's all I can do. I can do a curve or 2 straight lines.
Yeah, and you can't do curve that is going the other way.
Yeah. Then this will be added to the easel, and the active player gets the chance to guess what it is. If they don't, then it goes to the next player, who gets to, again, draw either 2 straight lines or a curve.
Now, this is the trick, because I'm looking at that. I want to complete, because this is a cooperative game. I want to try to, I can't put this one on top of the other one, but I have to put it separately and try to match where it is and complete the drawing. So let's say I do this. I can do 2 straight lines. So I can do that, for example, and maybe I do, I don't know, that. All right, so let's see what...
Then it becomes a moment of truth when you overlay them to see how
it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not the worst.
It's pretty bad.
Now it's Tarrant's
It
turn.
looks less like a mushroom to me. So anyway, you go around the table.
I'm curious. You do yours.
Eventually...
And then the player who's guessing it is now guessing up to 2. What is that?
That's what I would have done.
Well, you would have like put 1 here or something like that.
Yeah. So you go around the table, and the aim is for the team to get as many correct as possible within these 25 transparencies.
Yeah. If you pass, everything gets discarded, and then one of unused one gets discarded as a timing mechanics. So after 25 of these are used, then you score.
Yep. And I know Just One has those sorts of rules as well, with like you try to get the most out of 13 cards. I don't think we've ever played it that way.
No. But if you do want to play the actual correct rules of Just One, we do have how to play videos, which I will link for you, just for you. So I like the scoring. Okay, if it's 0. The important thing is that you have fun. Maybe one day you will also learn to draw. If only get 1 point, as in like 1 card guessed in the team, it seems that your future is not in art. And so on. I think it's really cute. I had fun with this one. I like drawing. I don't always like drawing, but I like this one as long as you don't actually take this seriously. In the higher player counts, it could be like everyone's just taking things too seriously. So this is a light game where you can't really think about it too much, because then every single turn would be like too long for higher player counts. That's what I think. But otherwise, other than that, it's a fun game.
Yeah, for me, it didn't hit for me. And part of it was that length, and part of it was the lack of creativity. I really like drawing games. I find them to be the most fun party games a lot of the time. But I think it's the being creative, and it's the trying to... I like being creative with pictures. Here I just found when the turn came to me, which was every sort of 5 to 10 minutes, because it was taking time to go around the table.
For higher player counts, if they're taking their time.
All I was doing was drawing 1 curve or 2 straight lines. I just I didn't feel the creativity come out of that. Yeah, look, I didn't find it creative enough. I found it too long between moments of fun. I thought, the artists couldn't talk about things while it was getting built up. So anytime you've got that lack of communication in a party game, you want it to be snappy enough that you still remember what was fun, and you've got a lot to talk about after it all went away. And I just...
see.
It didn't hit the party game types of targets.
I guess with Just One, it's different because everyone does their turn at the same time. So that's like really snappy. But with limited communication. But this one is slightly longer. Like, even though with 2 players, you have to wait between turns. And I guess you're not really... Does that mean that you're really not a big team player? I'm kidding. It's like, I don't care. I just want to draw. I just want to do something fun and not just contributing to the draws. But I find it fun because it's contributing to what it is, and then trying to match without having to put it on top of it is quite challenging, and then trying to think what other players are trying to draw, and then, okay, how can I contribute? How can I draw that adds to it, that helps the team to win? I think that's the fun bit. So what do you think? Is this the type of games you would play? I think give it a try, maybe not too many players on the table. and see how we go. And let us know if you ever play this or you have another drawing games that you really love. Please let us know. Last but not least, Archeos Society by Space Cowboys plays 2 to 6 players, which is the re-implementation of all the game called Ehtnos in 2017.
Yes. Now, we never played Ehtnos.
No,
so
unfortunately, no.
Yep, so this is a first principles review and not a description of what's new versus Ehtnos. I'm not even sure if there is anything new versus Ehtnos. But what this is a light, simple set collecting game with a really nice twist that I think makes something that is quite a simple game into something that can appeal to hobby gamers and non-hobby gamers. So fundamentally, we are out trying to go on expeditions, and we are drawing cards from a deck and a display. And on your turn, you can either draw one card from the face-up display, or you can draw one card from the deck. These don't get replenished automatically, and if these are empty, then this becomes richer. Players start to draw 2 cards instead of 1. Then, when it's your turn, you can, instead of drawing a card, play a set, which is called going on an expedition. It can be a set of all matching colours or all matching icons. But the twist is that once you've played your set, all the remaining cards in your hand go back on the table for other players to take.
Ding, ding, ding.
You then, from your set, you choose one card within it to be the leader. Let's say I chose this one. You look at the color of the leader and you advance on that color's track. I don't have that color's track here because there's 6 of them. You would advance on that color's track as long as you met the threshold for size.
I hope that.
Yes, so if you were to advance past this, you would need a size 1 set
so
in
that's
purple.
Overkill.
This is 5, that's definitely overkill. So you get some points by moving up on these tracks. Each of these roles has its own special ability. So this one is the botanist, for example. It scores more points by being the largest botanist played this round. They all have various different powers. And at the end of the round, the set will just simply score based on how large it is. So you're trying to constantly balance getting things of the right color and the right size at a certain time versus the most effective powers versus the largest sets.
Yep, and you are playing it with 6 boards. We just give you a couple as example, and then each board has got 2 sides as well.
Yes, so there are 12 different roles, and you choose 6 to play with, and they all have different powers, and there are 6 different boards. The round will end abruptly. There'll be 3 of these monkey cards shuffled into the bottom half of the deck. Game will end abruptly when all 3 have been drawn. You score each of all your sets and all of your positions on the season boards, and then you reshuffle for the next round.
There are different number of rounds depending the number of players, whether 2 or 3 rounds. I really like it. I wish I would have played Ehtnos, but I didn't. That's okay. There are so many replayabilities. You change one character, it changes the dynamic of the whole game. It could be. You change one side of the board, it could also change something there. You play with
fewer players versus more players.
Similar feels, I reckon. Fewer players and similar players, which is, I think that's a good thing in the game. There's a board, the linguist as well, and that's actually is kind of like comboing whenever you go play the linguist power, you advance your track. Whenever you go past or land on these artifacts, you actually advance other tracks, which is awesome. Like you can combo it with other things. It is amazing, and that push your luck. Okay, you want to try to set luck in your hands, trying to get the best combination, but then you have to discard your cards for other people to take, and that's sad.
Yeah, it's such a simple twist, but it works so effectively. And I really like the range of powers. You know, there are ones that make it easier to move up on here, but they're worth less points here, or they're worth more points here, but useless here. They all sort of have this balance to them, and I think it's really effective.
If you want to know how it plays exactly, we do have how to play video, which I will link in the description below. It only has or 8 minutes of it is explaining how you play, but then the rest will explain all the roles and the boards.
Yeah. Even within the game, I really like the way, like it feels like it's just going to be a simple do the same thing 2 or 3 times, but I really like the way the game progresses as well, because all of these tracks, you move up them more quickly with smaller sets at the start of the game, and you need larger sets at the end of the game. So it even has this big shift where in the first round, it's probably most effective to like play a bunch of 1 and 2 card sets just to bank these points that you'll score at the end of every round. And then as you go more on, you get more specialized, and it's harder to get these big sets, and the points aren't necessarily worth as much.
Yep, and then let's look at the other boards and the box as well. It's got the neat card stacking thing, so that's the other board. You can see that it's higher power. So this one here, I quite like this one. So the points here, that's the where you keep the cards, the rolls, and very highly expandable, isn't it? If there's going to be expansions,
Yep.
Hopefully there is. And look at this. It's not much points, but then whenever you go past it, you draw 1 extra card, 1, 2 cards, 3 cards, and so on. And that escalation that Tarrant was talking about. So the higher ones, you need higher amount of cards to actually be able to advance the track. There's one that lets you, coming back to the start. It's kind of like really push your luck.
Yeah.
So you can decide once you advance once, you can decide at any time, okay, I want to come back. I want to come back to the base and then get the points listed. So I actually, at one time I reached 15. No, that's it. I can't take this game of chicken, and there's 6 cards that I need to actually, but then there's also roles that lets you play 1 less amount of cards. So one of the things that you can combo.
And there's roles that let you just get an advancement for free as well. So yeah, this is a very good game. Good games get reprints, I think, and
yeah, it's a good
good
sign,
games
right?
get rethemed, and I can certainly see why this does. Very broad appeal, really good fun.
Question of the day: have you played Ehtnos? Please let us know if you have played Ehtnos. In our How to Play video, some people commented on they've seen Ehtnos, they play Ehtnos, and there's slight differences, but please let us know as well if there are like an obvious difference that you can see. Obviously the theme is different, and the board, I think from what I heard, it's not track at Ehtnos, it's like
It's
map.
area influence. I think.
Area influence. So I'd like to know more about that, and it's quite highly rated as well. That 2017 game, people still know about it, people still play it. Please do let us know. And thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.